No. What is that number? Look at that number.
Number 2.
No, look at it.
Number 1.
Okay, say it again.
Number 1.
What's that number?
Number 1.
You think you ready for number 2?
Yeah, number 2.
You sure?
Yeah, number 2.
Tell me what that number is.
Number 2.
No, that number. That number you got right there.
It says number 2.
No, what's that number?
I guess 2.
Look at it. We just said it.
Can I get on the computer?
Hold on. What you say that number was? Look at that number and tell me that number. Come on. What is it?
Number.
Come on, man. It's the first number.
I know it was a stupid thing to do.
Number
O-N-E.
1.
Number 1.
What's that number?
Number 1.
Tell me that number.
Number 1.
Look at me and say, Papa, this is number 1.
Papa, this is number 1.
All right. What is that number?
Number 1.
Can you tell me that number?
Number 1.
I need to hear it one more time.
Number 1.
What's that number?
Number 1.
Look at it. Grab the card. Grab it. What's that number?
Number 1.
You sure?
Yeah, number 1.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Say number 1.
Number 1.
What is that number?
Number 1.
Is you sure?
Yeah.
And that's number 1. You ready for the next number?
Yes.
What's that number?
Number 1.
Come on.
Number 1.
You know that number.
Number 1.
And you sure?
Number. Yes, I'm good.
Okay, what's that number?
Number 1.
All right, here, you ready? You ready? What's this number? What's this number? That's the second number. What's that? Number 2. What's that number?
Number 2.
Grab that.
Number 2.
What's that number?
Number 2.
For real?
Number 2.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, then what's this number? Oh, what's that number you got in your hand?
Number 2.
Is that number 2?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, number 2. All right, what's this number?
Number.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm right here, handsome. What's this number?
Number.
Okay, go back to that one you got in your hand. What's that one you got in your hand? What is it? The number.
Alright, Papa, I got my number.
It's called what?
Papa, we're trying so hard not to do it.
Yes, I see that. What's the number? You know what I love about you? You are not. No. It's the number 2. What's that number?
Number 2.
Come on.
Number 2.
You sure?
Yes.
Say that number.
Number 2.
Look at that number.
Number 2.
Turn it right side up so it look like a number 2. Flip it around.
2.
And that's a 2, right?
Yes, number 2.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Say that number.
Number 2.
For real?
Number 2.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What's this number? It's the first one.
I dropped it.
Okay, it's the first one. What's the number?
1.
What's that number?
1.
What's that number?
1.
Get that number off the floor and tell me what it is. What's that number? Say it. No, what was you going to say at first? Say it. A number what?
Number 2.
What's that number?
Number 2.
Hey, what's this number? Come on. You could do this.
1.
What's that number again?
1.
Okay, what's that number in your hand? Number
2.
Say it again.
Number 2.
And that's what?
Number.
What number?
Say it again. You said it.
Number 2.
No, you said it a few seconds ago. Number
1.
What's that number?
Number 1.
And what's that number in your hand?
Number.
Number
Number.
I love you, Kaecyn. You are the best. We gonna get this. I know it's weird.
Why? I'm done. Okay. Papa, I'm done.